the market had another soft close yesterday. What's your reading on this continual bearish trend that we're seeing on the Nigerian Stock Exchange?
Yeah, good morning. Yesterday we saw that the market lost 0.07%, and we saw that value and volume increased yesterday, 46% increase in value and 5% increase in volume. We saw that the activities of the market were driven basically by the activities in UBA. We had about 115 million cross deals in UBA yesterday, and about 30 million in Zenith Bank. We see that investors have been cautious in the market, and we expect this trend to continue. We see that valued investors are still picking stocks at low level, though they are not aggressive at the moment, but we're still seeing interest in the top tier banks and the companies with good fundamentals on the stock exchange.
As you say, some respite for UBA, lots of volume moving through that stock, around 80% though down for 2011. It had some dismal quarter numbers coming through. If you look at their quarterly performance there, deteriorating ROE, deteriorating ROA, and also looking to raise capital from the market. What's your take on UBA versus the other top tier banks?
Well, at the moment, UBA looks like the weakest of the top tier of the tier 1 banks in Nigeria. The news on the market of raising additional capital has not been taken so positively, as the market is yet to digest the reason and the use of the funds that is being raised. The market has reacted negatively to the news, and the stock has lost a lot in the last few months.
Let's move on to the flour millers sector. Honeywell Flour released some strong numbers yesterday for the first half of the year, beating street estimates. You've got turnover coming in 3% higher at 18.2 billion naira. What drove this top line growth there, and do you think 3% growth is commendable?
Yeah, looking at the result from Honeywell Flour that we saw in the market, the turnover increased by 3%. It was actually below our expectation, as we were looking at a forecast for the year was about 24%. We saw that the cost of sales also was up by 9.5% against a forecast of about 37%. The profit before tax was also up, was down by 23%, as against a forecast of 58% downward trend. We also saw that the PBT, profit after tax, was up by 2%, as against the 60% forecast downward move. Generally, looking at the result, we saw that it was actually ahead of our expectation, though the turnover for the company was down. But we see that they were able to manage costs. In terms of interest expense, we saw that there was a reduction in the interest expense, which trickled from the reduction in the short-term debt of a company. We also saw that costs like marketing cost was reduced by the company, so that the performance was better than what the expectation was. Looking at the stock, it's still actually a recommended sell, as it is trading slightly below our target price. We think that the company was able to manage the cost and was operating more efficiently.
And going forward, you'd assume a good growth story going forward. It's expanding capacity, demand is still there, and as you say, looking to it's managing costs well. So on the cost side of things, even though costs are increasing, it's got that under control.
Yeah, we see that the management was able to contain cost and to manage cost, but the company is actually operating close to full capacity at the moment, and we saw that there was also a reduction in the average price of wheat, which is a major raw material for the quarter, and we saw that this was actually part of what translated into a better cost management for the company.
Titi, let's stay in the flour millers sector. Flour mills rights offer, those shares have started trading. They're trading at around 62 naira, the same price that the share is trading on the exchange. What's the motivation for taking up these rights as a shareholder?
Looking at flour mills rights, which opened on Monday, offering about 455 million shares to the market, valued at 28.2 billion naira. We see that investors have been indicating interest in the flour mills right, and at the moment in the market is trading about the same price the right is trading. The main motivation for investors to take up their rights is liquidity. Looking at the average volume that has been traded in flour mills over a couple of days, we will see that it has been trading about an average of 150,000 units to 200,000 units. And for an investor who is really interested in the stock and is looking at acquiring volume, it's easier to go to the right, take up your right, and then look at additional right. Though the additional rights might not be guaranteed, but there's also the option of trading in rights of people that are going to be renouncing. So that way the investor is able to take up more rights and then is guaranteed getting the shares.